Yeah, this is the real Benny D for Just Art Animation Studios. And I promised to do a tutorial how I achieved the toon shader effect to look very nice. And this is going to be a quick tutorial. So I'll hit on the basic things you need to know to create a very nice toon render like that. So first of all, as you can see on my screen, I have the same character but different shader. And if I zoom in, you can see the same character, everything is the same. It's just that they are different texturing. This is very important for the end result. So for now, you can see this is this is a character from the religion content store. The skin is obviously it's from a pack. It's from a pack created by, I think, let me look for, it's the, just give me a second, let me look for the pack. It's a toon pack. Yeah, this is it. It's a, yeah, this is more of the animation, but this is it's like a pack, toon pack in the religion store. So I just modified the character, but I used the skin that came with it, and it's a CC3 plus character. That's the base, the foundation of it. And this hair is gotten still from the religion content store pack. I think it's gotten from the hair builder pack. So you can see it's the same hair, but here it's different. Like I worked on it. Not it's very simple. It's just I just played with the opacity for the beards too and for the eyebrows too. So this is the first step. And how do you convert from this texture to this texture? Basically, it's just Photoshop. So let's go to Photoshop and let's remove this whole texture. So if you go to Photoshop, just give me, it needs some time to load Photoshop. Yeah, so we are now in Photoshop and we can see the texture already. So what we are going to do here basically is we are going to just change the color. I have it on, you choose the desired color you want or the desired shade of color you want, and you just clean everything up. But if you're a good artist and you want to put some nice details, you can. But I'm just showing you the basic, so some people can decide to put some nice drawings and nice shades and all that. But this is what I just do basically. I'm using a black color or a darker tone, sorry, not black, a darker tone. Now this is it. I just clean everything up and I go back and I save it and it overwrites the texture. Okay. And when we are done, you now see, but you can see it's still looking oily, fleshy, and has that nice, it still has that skin look. It doesn't really have, it's not really like plain like this, so we're going to make it more plain. That is, we first of all we change the the shader type to traditional. I change it to traditional, then I delete the bump map, I delete the ambient occlusion. And yeah, then you scroll down. You scroll down, you take the specular down, you take the glossy down. You can now see it's giving that matte feel. Giving you that matte feel. Or should I say matte feel. Okay. And for the hands, you know, since I'm not trying to put any form of detail here, you see, it's just plain color. Or I just actually just duplicate the face texture on the body and on the leg. Sorry, the body is not showing, but you can see it here. Let's just duplicate it, or let's just copy and put it on the body texture too. Then we go here too. Just wait a little, yeah. Then the tone looks reddish, or actually looks like clay color, but we can still work on that. Can just, since it's already okay, we can work on it to make it. I'm using a black person, like a darker tone, just to get that. Just, you can use any type of texture or any type of shade of color. So this is what you can tweak it to, any type of this thing you want, any type of shade you want. So this is it for it. And pretty much then for the nail, you can come to the nails too. Basically, we just want to make sure everything looks plain. You change the shader to traditional, and you delete this. You delete the ambient occlusion too, and the bump map. Then here, I reduce the strength of the shader to give it that plain look. You can see the nails. The nail is plain now. Or we can reduce the brightness, or change the color, but let's just reduce the brightness, or reduce it to a darker shade or so. It's still shiny, so because we've not taken down the value of the specular, now take it all the way back so it's plain. And for the shirt, it's just basically, and again, as an artist, maybe as a good 2D artist or texture artist, you can add details. You see, for this toon on, I just took everything out, but you can actually take your time and put plain colors to give patterns and style. So, but for the sake of tutorial, I'm just showing you what I just do basically. So here I delete the bump map too, and I change the shader to traditional. I reduce it doesn't have specular glossiness. What if it has? You reduce it, and then I just change this to plain white. Yes, and to plain white. You might ask, why is this white shining bright? I think it's because of the direction of the light, of the default light, so it doesn't really matter. And for all the materials, let's see the shoe also. I just delete the texture, delete this, delete that. I change it to traditional, make sure the glossy and everything is down. And you can change the shader to basically this. So for the trousers, you can see I didn't really do anything to the trousers, but it's the same step. You can just, it depends. If the trouser it doesn't fit in well, you do the same thing. You remove the texture. And just like I said, you can as well decide to leave the texture, no, to decide to put your own pattern that's solid colors so that it can blend. So for the hair now, will come, as I said, it's just mostly the opacity. We are trying to make the hair look toony as possible or low poly as possible. So when you come to the opacity of the hair base here, you just take the strength down. You see now it's giving you that jagged, just like card. It looks more like a card type of hair. And obviously the color, you just come to the diffuse color here. You can make it to pure black, and we have that. The same goes to the beard. If you click on the beard here, you reduce the opacity, the strength. It now gives you that jagged or rough card feel. And you come to the diffuse color and make it black also. And same step goes for the mustache on this other hair. Reduce the opacity, the strength, change the color to black. Obviously you can choose any color you want, but for the sake of the tutorial, I'm just using this. For the eyebrow also, just same step. Change it to black. Actually, for the eyebrow, you don't. It's not a must. Yeah, it's not a must for the eyebrows. You can and you can decide not to. Just depends on what you want to achieve. So let's just take the strength back up for the eyebrow and just make it black. Okay, black. Okay, I think it has, oh yeah, base. Change black also. Well, it's not that black. That's because I think we have to go to all these other parameters. Let's change it. Now, let's just take, this. I don't know why this is doing like it's acting this way, but let's see what I did. Okay. I don't think we have to, pardon me, I just had to cross-check what I did. Everything's there except, okay, this should be, yeah. I wonder why it's not getting black as I did for this one. Again, just give me time, let me check this out. Black. Black. Oh. For some reason, I don't know why the eyebrows is not quite giving me the result I did before, but it's not really a problem. Let's just move on, because everything I did is the same. I just wonder why it's not giving me that, but no problem. It's not really a big issue there. So let's continue the beard, this other one here, right? Yeah. Tone down the strength of the opacity and turn it to black. You can see, although this shade is quite different, not exactly, but we'll still get the same results eventually. So this is the major step. Then the eye, sorry about it. Look at the eye. You can see this eye is bright. What I mean by bright is mainly solid color. Let's look at it here. You see, this is how it is. And how do we achieve this type of eye? We make sure we come to, sorry, I have to come back to this one we created. The trick is that you make sure everything is solid colors. Make sure everything is solid colors. So let's take this to Photoshop the eye. So basically you just have to work on the outer part of the eye. You paint it white, then the dark part, the iris or pupil, will now be black, pure black, solid black. So you just like align it. If it's too big for you, you can just reduce the size a little bit. It's too small. Yeah, almost the same thing. Make it white. But basically I just paint everything white and I try to get the middle spot, the center, like I say here. Yeah. As I said, you can still fine tune it to be more accurate. Yeah, you delete the bump map, the ambient occlusion. Basically you copy this and paste it in every on every texture of the eye. This. I actually struggle to get some of these things, like for example, after you've changed all the texture, delete the bump map, everything, you might notice that there's no difference. It doesn't change. Why? Because you need to change everything to traditional. Now you have the white eye. Then remember what I said, you go back and you make sure you tone down the specular and the glossiness, and the diffuse color, make sure it's white. Yeah, so now you can see we have the same eye, solid color eye. The beard under the neck, no, not under the neck, under the jaw. I think this is quite small. This is much. Let's see. It's quite much. I think I'll just have to delete it so that it matches that of the initial one. Yeah, I think it's just delete it. Yeah. You know, it might not be exactly the same, but the steps are the most important thing. So let's see now. Now that we've made this character into toon, let's see how it reacts, or how it looks when I change the lighting to toon shader. Now let's see. Wow, you can now see it gives you that toon shader feel, right? Nice. But we are not done yet. Let's look at the pants. Fine. This has patterns. You can decide to leave it or remove it, but let's just remove it for the sake of the tutorial. Delete everything, bump map, the ambient occlusion, change it to traditional, turn down the glossiness if it isn't turned down yet. Then yep, this is it. This is how it looks. So next thing is we'll make sure we check that no other light is affecting it. Of course not. So we have to work on the lighting. I don't like all these lines or looks like artifacts here or artifacts. Let's work on the shade level, the tone level. You can see I just want to make sure there's only one line between the light and shade. You can see that between the light and shade. Then I turn down the intensity of the insert. The edge width, I take it down. I don't want the edge width. You can now see it's giving us nice tone feel. Oh, I almost forgot, but you can also work on the teeth. Let's see the teeth is still, look at mine. We want it to be like this. So it's, as I said, it's the same thing. It's just your shader work. You send it to, you delete the bump map, the roughness, the ambient occlusion. You now send, this is upper teeth. You send it to Photoshop. Yeah. And you paint this whole place white, and you paint this the gum red or pink, just so that it blends with the actual color. So this white part is going to be for the teeth, to make sure the teeth is white, pure white. And you can decide not to make it pure white, but it's left for you to decide. Then you can choose the color for your gum and just paint it and just trace it. You understand? Just, you can still take your time and trace it perfectly, but this is just it. So the major thing is just solid color, solid. Oh, sorry. Shit. It's just solid colors, solid colors, solid colors. That's the trick. That's the trick. Take it back to iclone. Save it. You can now, yeah. We can't see the upper teeth because of, I think, how it's structured, but it's working already. Change it back to traditional. As I said, glossiness and specular 0. Then you do the same thing for the lower teeth. Okay. You delete the bump map, roughness, ambient occlusion. Send it to Photoshop. Same process, you color the gum. Yeah, fine. Then the teeth, pure white, solid white. And again, you can decide to choose maybe you want a different color, not just pure white. But whatever color you decide to use, just make sure it's solid colors. And if you're an artist, and like you can decide to add other patterns. Right. Yeah. Yeah, you can see change to traditional. Now you can see the gums up. It's popping. Solid color is popping well. And the tongue. You make sure the tongue is also solid color. Send it to delete the bump map, the roughness. Send the tongue to Photoshop, and this is quite straightforward. Just choose a part, a color, I say pink, and the whole tongue is colored with a solid color, pinkish. Then you save as and go back to iclone. You change it to traditional. Now you see the tongue is popping. It's having its own shade and all that. Close the mouth. That's it for the mouth. Then wait a minute. Let's try and yep, you can decide to reduce the level of detail of the texture, just in case. Let's just work with this a little like this. Okay, so now let me drag that scene. I got this scene from Sketchfab. I don't know if I actually saved the scene or have to just work on it again. Just give me a minute. Okay, so I got this scene from Sketchfab. it's already texture and everything. It's just a scene from Sketchfab. So as you can see now, the character, it's, don't forget, it's obvious we are in toon shader. Without toon shader, this is how it looks. Toon shader is switched off, so this is how it looks without toon shader. So I turn toon shader on again. Basically, it's the default toon shader. The only thing I tweaked is I make sure I turn the edge intensity down, and so that the lines don't show, and I just make sure I move the light shading down to this point so that it shows only one line of light and shade. That's basically what I did here. There's no special thing apart from that. Then so basically this is how I achieved it. So now to give that overall night look, it's more of going to come in. I put the sky. I just put a night sky. I make sure it's I made it blurry a little bit. Then see, let's try and make this trouser more toony. Let's see, if you delete the whole texture and you come here, you can have like nice shade. And again, as an artist, you can decide to add your own pattern. Okay, to get this crease, it's basically just leaving the bump map on. If let's copy this bump map. If you leave the bump map on the trouser itself, but you can delete or switch off the diffuse of the trouser, you definitely get, you get that effect of creasing. Just gives it more depth or detail. So this is how I achieved it. So let me just put a pose to give it a pose. That's the character. Basically, I'll just look for mixed motion. Yeah. Oops. Okay. Then I remove the animation. I try to make the character sit like pose on the car. So I can delete this just because we've gotten what we want with that. So let's talk about the lighting. This is actually, this, like, let's say what makes it, let's check the lighting out. These are actually the default lighting here. These are all the default lighting that comes when you open the project. So you have to check if it affects the scene. If you off, nope, it doesn't affect it. Nope, it doesn't affect it. Switch off, it doesn't affect it. But this key light is the toon light, so it will change it to toon or not. So what makes this place bright overall is this other effect, IBL. The IBL has an effect on this too. It makes the character bright or dark. So let's switch it off and see this default IBL, no tweaking. You see, it just, the difference is, look at the character, it just makes it bright or dark, but still maintains the toon shader, just to lighten the character up or just make it darker. The only tweak you can do here is this, the strength, and if it's too high, it's going to lose the tune nature. If you take it back, it's going to regain its tune. If you can take it to like 1, yeah, so that's the effect of IBL on it. And you can decide to make maybe the shader, the light part of the tune to be behind. So like what I mean by behind is, let's go to toon shader. Okay, toon shader, we see that this direct light in toon shader is key light. So let's go to the key light. Make sure you on it, you make it visible so you can turn it. Then you come to parent rotate, and now you can decide to like, okay, put the lighting behind, especially if it looks like the lighting is coming from behind. You see, it gives that nice tone shading, or cell shading, let's use that word. And if you look at the clothing, and it has like a type of ambient occlusion, that is because the ambient occlusion is on. Look, these are default settings. You can decide if you switch it off, you see, it goes, it comes. It just depends on what you want to achieve. It off, sorry, it goes, it on. You can increase the strength, the range. That will just depend on what you want. You see, just maybe to give it a little bit shade. We can just decide to switch it off and make it look like this. And also you can decide to switch the key light shadow off. Now the shadow gives a little, it just gives you some dark parts, like just gives you a little bit shadow effect. But once you can switch the key off, and it now looks like pure tone, no shadow, no ambient occlusion. You understand? Now it looks like tone. It looks like pure, like nice tone shading also. And again, you can decide to move. You can decide to play with the lights if it's come here, or let it come from behind. Depends on the direction of your light that matches the scene. So, and now to get that night look, it's just mostly when you go to your post effect, you just look for different effects, like maybe this. You can try to reduce it a little, make it bluish. You understand? Play with the color balance. Let's say something like this. That's post effect, and here we go. We have a nice tone shade effect. Then, you know, finally you can put your camera, you can create your camera, sorry, and your depth of field. Let me check this out. Yeah, your depth of field. I'll work on your depth of field, the blur, or whatever, however you want it. And there's something else. You can play with the HDR just to give it atmospheric feel. You see the car lights, and you animate your, and now you can animate your, sorry, you can animate your camera. So let me just put this keyframe and sorry. Now I play back, and as you can see, I have my tune look. So you can still play with the shader of the skin. Let's just play with it. Can give you nice if you want to make it darker, lighter, make it look like. Sorry, let's just come to the adjust color. As you can see, you can make it maybe look grayish. Can make it bright and look grayish like this. See, this is a nice effect too. So this is another way you can manipulate whatever it is, and you can just go ahead and animate it. I just did random keyframe, keyframe and direct animation. Sorry, I direct puppet animation, like that. So you can just work on it. So this is just what I can just play with it this way. Yeah, so this is how I achieved the toon or cell shading effect using iclone 7. So look at how it looks from afar. It looks good, right? So it's the same principle. You have to make sure your environment has a very simple look to it. That's if you are trying to do maybe a customized environment. Make sure it's simple texture and all that. And again, you can decide to separate the toon shader from the environment. That's maybe render the toon character separately, a PNG sequence, then render the background separately without the toon effect or so. But this is how I just achieved it. So now I think the light, it makes more sense that the light is coming from behind, so it gives you that nice bright feel. And this is how it is. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I hope this will give you a quick it will help you start, like, learn how to do nice toon shading, rendering iclone. So thank you very much.